What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode. I am already laughing because I have no fucking clue what this podcast is about, and Nick is about to just drop some bombs, and we're gonna go from there.
So Nicole usually does this to me. She's like, "Get on, we're doing a podcast." I'm like, "Well, what are we talking about?" She's like, "Doesn't
Just roll with
matter."
it.
I was like, "Okay." So almost every podcast that we do is improv to me. Now it's time to reverse the role. Today, we are going to celebrate the holiday season, Santa Claus, Christmas,
Babbo
and
Natale.
with the theme, are you naughty or are you nice?
Oh God. Okay.
Which list are you on?
Are you asking me?
Yeah. Which list are you on?
Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna go right in the middle.
You're not naughty or nice?
It sounds so dirty. I think I'm both, is what I'm trying to say.
This is how professional we are.
This is
Are
like I
you
should get a
naughty or
t-shirt.
nice? This
Should
is
get a
so
t-shirt
dirty.
made.
The dirty mom.
This podcast might really show my level of maturity because it's pretty low.
So, listeners, I want you to pause for a second and ask yourself, am I naughty or am I nice? Which list would I be on? Take a moment. Be honest with yourself. So, I didn't think that you were going to pick both. If you did pick
Because you're wanting
both,
to talk about fucking duality, don't you?
if you did pick both, you took the correct answer.
Oh my.
Is But what's fucked up about, parents today and Christmas and you're supposed to be on the nice list, which means
Are you laughing because
that
the Italians love to threaten their kids with Father
yes,
Christmas?
so much.
It's
But I
like
mean, in
all
America,
year
we
they
in
torture their
America,
kids.
we have Elf on the Shelf in America, you know.
I don't even
So
know what that is. I
it's
don't care to
same,
know.
same, same, but different.
Okay.
It's still just a way to like, you know, if you don't act well, you're not going to get the presents and blah blah blah. Like, so it's impossible to live a one-sided life, you know. You're not just nice, you're mean too. And you're not just mean, you're nice too. Even if you take some time and look at somebody that you fucking hate and resent, they're not mean all the time. They've done nice things. If you take enough time or if you had somebody else help you, because you might be so polarized you can't see, but I'm sure they've actually done nice things to you. They haven't just been naughty.
Well, it's interesting because I'll give you guys a funny story really quick because this is a lot of what Demartini talks about, which the first time you go to a Demartini event, especially the breakthrough experience, depending on how polarized you are, if you're like everything is bad or everything is good, um, you could feel like you got hit by a fucking Mack truck when you go to his event because he just schools you. And gosh, I don't even remember what year it was, but it was a long time ago that I went to the first event and I had the luxury of DeMartini sitting down in front of me and helping me work through and I was working through a person from my past who I perceived as bad. They were only bad, they were one-sided, they were an asshole, they were this, they were that. And he's asking me all these questions to help me see the other side. But the main thing he was probing, he was pretty much saying that whatever you judge or you vilify, would that be the right word? Like whatever you see as like the villain behaviors, like you have those traits. So if you think a person, is a bad person, they're a mean person, they're a greedy person, they're, whatever, you own those traits. The only reason you can judge them is because you are them. And I was like, I would never act that way, the way he treated me. I would never treat someone like that. And he looked at me and he goes, man, you are a stubborn little bitch. Demartini, straight to my face. I took it like a champ, but I'll never forget it for my whole life. And essentially is because I was just pushing back. I was like, no, no, I have never done that. And so, when somebody sits there and calls you a stubborn little bitch, you think about it later. Even though in that moment it was like, oh, fuck you, man.
But he took
Uh,
you through it where you were doing that just in a different part of your life,
yep, yep,
because,
yep, yep.
in that moment we were younger, we weren't as open and balanced and done as much work, but we were, holistic. So it's easy to judge the other pharmaceutical. It's the medical system. So, where were you judging this? How are you judging that? Are you judging fast food? Food? Are you judging chemicals in food? Are you judging all these things? Like, are you judging people, the short fix with a pill to cover up symptoms instead of actually, healing themselves and working through stuff? And you, like, then it was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I am an
Well,
asshole too.
it's funny because I was thinking about this literally the other day. I didn't say it out loud, but in our business, we determined the core values of our company, and we did it by reverse engineering. And it was primarily the things that pissed me off the most done by the employees. And that helps you when you reverse engineer it, understand what the core values are. And essentially, how you do anything is how you do everything. Um, and it was essentially like, hold yourself to a high standard. Don't cut corners. And I that was the standard that I held in the business, because I felt that you know, it was important to give your best, never cut corners, because this is going to help someone have great outcomes when it comes to their health and wellness journey. And then I was doing so we just lost our au pair in the house who was helping us with like all the house stuff, which I fucking loathe. And I was doing something and I was like, oh my God, I literally cut all the corners when it comes to like things in the house, because I just fucking hate it. I hate doing dishes. I hate loading a dishwasher. I hate doing laundry. I just despise it. And
So
so
now I
like
put
I
on the maid skirt and, I'm in the corner dusting and, putting dishes away.
So it's just interesting because I will hold myself to the highest standard in certain aspects of life, and then there's other aspects of life that I'm just like, I'm gonna cut corners because I don't like this and I just want it to be over. So
So
it just goes
one
back to
of
the example.
one of the things that you said there, which I don't think people realize how important it was, is when you judge someone else, when you see something in someone else, it's only because you have that same trait. Different form usually, but you have the same trait. And this is the part of healing, which if you go back and listen to our past podcast, we went into a lot of different angles of it, but the mind dictates the expression of the body, and the body's just giving us feedback through symptoms. Those symptoms are just saying, hey, you haven't learned how to love this part of you. And you tend to judge it, you tend to take it out on somebody else. It's like you lost your shit on cue. Like it was, it's none of those things are bad. It's just different forms for you to work through an aspect of yourself that you haven't brought into balance, the homeostasis. You haven't, healed it. Because there's nothing to forgive, there's nothing to forget about. It's just understanding that you are split, quote unquote, the stress of duality. But to bring that back into healing, we need to come back into gratitude, thankfulness, and love, unconditional love. And part of what you're talking about is how you do anything is how you do everything. Well, that's connected to your conditional love, not the unconditional love, because you don't want to put your best into doing the dishes. You want to put your best into being an entrepreneur, into being a doctor, into being a mom. You know,
Because
probably
that's my
number like
values.
probably number 18 is, to being a wife. You know,
Oh, rude.
dig,
Rude.
dig, dig. I know where I land. But so this whole theme was understanding that this naughty or nice concept, it can be fun to play with it, but
We're both.
consciously as consciously as parents, don't overuse it to dictate how your kids act
Yeah.
because it's it seems like such a light little thing, but it's gonna fuck them up because you're putting an expectation that they should always be nice, and it's like don't try to control somebody else through an external means.
It's
Like guide
interesting you say that because we've done values on so many people, and Nick and I kind of take two different approaches when we help people know their personal values. And I swear it's like 99% of the people that we've done values with, kindness, they presume that kindness is a top value. And one, so much of that is dictated by what they've been told makes you a good person by parents, professors, religion, society, etc. But I always play devil's advocate and I'll ask them and I say, okay, kindness. You think it's good to be kind, you want your kids to be kind. So how do you feel if Johnny is goes up to your son at the park and punches him directly in the face? Do you want him to still be kind or do you want him to be bold? Do you want him to be brave? Do you want him to defend himself? Do you want him to verbally defend himself, physically defend himself? Like what's your approach with that? And they're like, some of my Jersey people are like, I want them to fucking punch him back, and then other people are like, no, I want them to stand their ground. I want them to be bold and confident enough to say, like, that's not what I tolerate. You're never going to do that to me again. And so I'm like, this isn't about kindness. This is about maybe being bold, being brave, being confident, being humble and confident. And I
I'm gonna
find
kindly
that
put him in an armbar until he submits.
well, that's actually one of the values that I feel like is very common with people we work with, and one of our personal values, because I find it always interesting that we tend to attract people that are of similar mindset, some similar values. But a lot of people are like, I want my kid to be like brave and I want her to be tough and confident, but I don't want them to be a dick. Like, I want them to be humble. I want them to, still like be kind and be compassionate and like never be throwing like I'm better than you around. But I also want them to like know who they are and stand their ground and be confident in that. And so, so again, like exactly what we're talking about, like that's two different ends of the spectrum. If you want your kid to be like bold and confident, that could equate to big ego, I'm better than you. And then humility could get confused with just be a people pleaser, bend over and take it. So it's like that value is actually two ends of the spectrum. I want you to be bold and confident, but I also want you to be humble. So you bring those together, and that's actually a perfectly balanced core value.
Like a balance between being naughty and nice.
See, channel some.
So, everybody, here is the plot twist for Dr. Nicole.
Oh shit.
Drum roll. Because you said bend over and take it, we're going to go there.
Oh my god.
Are you naughty or are you nice? A lot of people in this world
Uh-huh.
have a lot of fantasies sexually, and
Oh
they don't
god.
act on them. And anytime that I work with a child of nightmares, I never work on the nightmare because the nightmare is not the problem. The problem is the fantasy.
Okay.
So you bring a fantasy down, there's no more nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of sexual symptoms, and we're going to keep this very short.
I love that you want to go here.
But there's a lot of, well, I mean, a lot of reproductive hormones that are off on people, prostate issues that are
Fertility.
off on people, fertility issues, the pelvic lymph, varicose veins, like all of that has a piece of the puzzle of the naughty or nice. And that we've been programmed as society to, to do missionary and nothing else. And it's like, well, sometimes maybe you do want to get bent over and take it, as you said,
Oh my
making you feel
goodness.
uncomfortable here. What I'm saying is that none of that is like a sin. None of that is wrong. It's if you have uh, an urge, a desire, you know, it's either A, you should have a conversation with your other so that they know what you're experiencing, what your needs are. And if you can't have the conversation, well, that's an issue that probably just needs to be
Yeah.
addressed in the relationship, and the fantasy will come down because we'll have these things to grow separation in different parts of our life to create more of a nightmare problems in other parts of our life or in the same part, but just different category, hence the relationship or significant other, until we can become more aligned through communication, etc. So, that fantasy might just be there. That's not even a true fantasy, but it's trying to help us heal and strengthen and grow our relationship. Maybe it is something that needs to be expressed and acted
Well,
on.
I think that it's
And
just people have their fantasies, and you know, what it comes down to is there's possibly to start guilt and shame around what that is, especially if they've been um like sexually repressed. Um, I think that's pretty common in families, like I remember when I was young, like, it's such dumb stuff that I still to this day will never understand. Like it wasn't one, nobody was talking about sex of any in any capacity. Um, my parents weren't really affectionate towards each other in front of us. Like it was just deemed like that's not normal. But even two is like as we were growing up as women, me and my sister, we weren't like allowed to shave our legs, but we also weren't like allowed to talk about it. And I'm just kind like a, it was like a normal aspect of growing up as a woman. And I'm just kind of like, I still am like, what the fuck was that about? Like, why couldn't I shave my legs? Like, I'm just confused. So there's repression, I think, in a lot of capacities, and that creates the guilt and shame. And then that's obstacle number one in having the conversation. But then there's people make it about them. So if a man or a woman goes to their partner and says like, I want to do something a little more exciting or a little more outside the box, the person, oh, what, am I not good enough? Oh, you don't like what I bring to the table already? Like, and they make it that, and it's not that. It's just a person trying to be vulnerable, and you should be happy that they were vulnerable enough to bring that conversation to the table in the first place. The last thing that we want to do is guilt and shame them, because we would not want that to be done to us. um and this isn't even just about sexual fantasies. This is about like the fantasies that we create in our minds. Like, you and I had a dynamic that like I would get guilt and shamed anytime I'd go shopping. Like you just were like, I don't understand why a person needs this many shoes or this many coats or this many anything. And then it just like builds that separation. And I'm like, cool, I'll fucking hide the bags in the car. I'm gonna still do it, but I'm gonna do it more because you're telling me that I shouldn't do it or something wrong with me. So I'm like, go fuck yourself. I'm gonna go,
well, and
do
you would
more.
do it more because I needed you to do it more so that I would actually balance out my perception.
Yeah. So it's just any time that we're going to guilt and shame someone about something, even if you that's your first inkling to do it, just pause and say, listen, I appreciate you coming to me. I don't know exactly how I want to respond just yet. Can you just give me a few? That's going to go a longer way than automatically reacting and then having to backpedal later if you're like, oh, I'm sorry I reacted that way and this and that. It's like don't create a fire that you have to put out. Just 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 don't even light the lighter, and just
Well,
give yourself
and
a moment to see
it's
how you
also,
actually want to respond.
and it's going back to, talking about this sexual naughty or nice aspect of things is that, you know, that wanting to be overly naughty or thinking I have to be overly nice, you know, part of it started in the mind. So the quality of your life is dictated by the quality of the questions you ask. It's like, okay, well, where where did that belief process start? You know, where did it start that I was told that, to be a lady, I needed to act like this, or whatever the story is running in the background?
Yeah.
Or where did this fantasy that, this is going to fill all my desires and this is like going to make me feel like I'm connected or living or et cetera. Like, why do I need this? And it's just to help you process.
But I
It doesn't,
also, this is kind of related, and it's piggybacking off of just kind of the whole idea of partner to partner. But we like, I can't believe it's kind of taking me as long as it has to realize this, but we give what we want. Like, you give me physical touch and massages because that's what you want. I give you surprises for holidays, which is because that's what I want. Like, and you're just like, I don't care about any of that.
I mean, you do
I
like a
love
foot massage, but
I do like a foot massage, but you give that because that's what you want. I give you things that I want that I think
yeah.
are would make me, like, I think it makes you feel special, but really at the end of the day would make me feel special.
No, yeah. Like
So,
my birthday's coming up, you ask me what I want. I'm like, I really can't think of anything.
yeah.
Because if I want something, I just go and buy it. Like I don't, and I really can't think of anything that
And
I
I'm
really
like,
want right
oh, I
now.
should do this surprise thing and this and that. And I'm like, that's because that's what I want. So maybe I should just think about what he gives me because that's what he wants.
Give me a massage, woman.
Yeah, that's pretty much, you just do that and you'll be happy. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, again, I feel like these podcasts today are a bit schizophrenic, but whatever. I hope it's valuable for you guys. And don't aspire to be on the nice list because that will actually make you schizophrenic. It's been proven that if you are always trying to be good, trying to be positive, positive affirmations, see the good in everything, and there's no bad. You will actually create a level of psychosis in your brain. They've tested it, they've researched it. And if you
As
are so
Einstein
hard,
said, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
correct. And if you think that, the glass is always half empty and, life is doom and gloom and, you're only just a shitty person, that is definitely a half truth because there's no possible way that you're only bad and you're not good. And, this is just for you to get your fucking mind out of the gutter and to really just take a look, a 360 view of yourself and your life and the people around you and, and see both sides of it because there's no possible way that it's only one
One
side.
side or the other.
So I'm glad that I kind of passed the test when I answered the question
You
today. And then yeah, and then the conversation got a little interesting in the middle here.
gotta keep it lively for our listeners.
All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one.